Good afternoon, everyone. Will DuPree here in the KXAN live studio. We wanted to hop on this afternoon and provide an update on a court case that is playing out thousands of miles away from Austin, but it involves someone who once lived here. We're, of course, talking about the trial involving Bakari Henderson's beating death, and that happened in Greece. Well, today we learned that the Greek court there indefinitely postponed the retrial of 7 suspects accused of killing him. Now, they are, again, this happened back in 2017, so almost 3 years ago now, but this case is still not resolved just yet. Now, the trial was supposed to start last week, but then there was a first postponement in that case. And that was because the Henderson family's lawyer needed some more time to get familiar with the case and then proceed with everything. And then a second postponement happened today, and that was because the court granted a request from some of the defendants' attorneys because they were trying some other cases on the very same day. So a kind of a strange development there, and obviously a disappointment for the family of Bakari Henderson. We have been talking about his family and to his family about him as this whole proceeding has gone underway. Again, this is a picture of Bakari Henderson that you can see right here. We had a chance to talk to Jill Henderson, Bakari's mother, earlier this morning about this latest development in the Greek court. I want to play that sound for you all now, and I started by asking her what her reaction was to this happening here.
Well, I guess our reaction is we were disappointed that we're going to have to continue to wait, especially since it felt like they could have actually done what they did today when we were in the courtroom on Wednesday, since several of the attorneys had already mentioned that they wouldn't be able to attend court today due to other cases that they had pending.
What does this mean for you and your family at this point, because you all have traveled over there to Greece to attend these different proceedings? So what will you all do now?
Well, we'll go back to the States and then wait for the new court date, and then we'll have to come back again.
Do you know yet when you'll be coming back to the States?
No, we're not sure. They'll tell us another date once they decide on one.
Your son died in 2017. To still have these proceedings happening, what effect has that had on you and your family?
It's kind of a heavy burden to still be lingering on, for sure. We look forward to the day when the proceedings are all finalized so that we can kind of move on with, the rest of our lives.
I've been so impressed hearing you speak in the past because of your composure. Where does that come from in all of this?
Well, it really just comes from our faith in God and just knowing that we really have to depend on Him in order to get through this.
Because these are murder charges that will be happening with the retrial, how confident are you that something will be resolved related to those?
Well, I don't know how confident we are, but we are hopeful. Of course, the Greek system is a lot different, so we can only hope that this time, since we are granted the retrial, that the proceedings will go in our favor.
Right. Jill, thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, you just heard from Jill Henderson. She was speaking to us from Greece about the retrial involving the suspects who are accused of killing her son back in 2017 at a Greek resort. Now, we wanted to kind of broaden out this discussion and provide a little more context for all of you at home. So right now we have KXAN reporter Eugen Cho joining me here in the KXAN live studio. Eugen, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Will.
Yeah, you've covered some developments related to this case. I think it might be best for people to understand what the timeline of this really was. So fill us in on that.
Yeah, well, so it's been a roller coaster ride for the Henderson family, and it goes back to July 2017. And just really quickly before we dive into that timeline, I want to share this with you because you asked Jill in the phone interview this morning about her composure, how she's been handling all of this, and she answered by talking about her faith. So I've been emailing back and forth, in the last few months with the family representative, and this is what she shared with me. Whenever Jill sends an email, this is how she signs it. Forgiveness is an act of love, and love gives us the courage to forgive. Love, forgive, repeat.
Every email is signed with that little, that saying there. Wow.
Exactly.
That
So I
tells you
think-
really who she is and where that all comes from.
Exactly. So that helps us better understand how this family has been handling everything, dealing with everything, with the court system that is not in the United States, that's in Greece. She mentioned that it's very different over there too. So this all started back in July 2017. So that's when Bakari was in Greece. He had gone over there shortly after graduating from college. He was doing a photo shoot to launch his clothing line. And then this island of Zakynthos, we understand that's a very popular vacation island. So one night he was at a bar. There was an argument inside that bar. We've seen the Associated Press reports saying that that argument started over Bakari taking a picture with a bartender. And then that argument escalated, spilled out onto the streets, and that's when we saw that surveillance video that captured several people punching Bakari. And the investigators over there had said he died from several severe blows to the head. So that was the incident, July 2017. And then September 2018 is when KXAN reported on the first trial. So that's when 9 suspects were taken to court. So the trial started in September and ended in November. So it's a lengthy trial. And as you can imagine, there are so many defendants involved. And what Jill had told us was that each defendant can have up to 3 attorneys. So right there, that's totally different from, what we see in our courtrooms here in the United States.
Right, yes.
And she said at any time, you could have up to 20 people just on the defendant's side, talking, discussing whatever is happening. So she described that first trial courtroom as being a little chaotic as well.
How strange that must be to observe that as someone who may be used to what happens here in America and then to go over there and find a different system entirely.
Exactly. And Jill had also said they weren't given a translator to hear, everything that's going on right away. So they had to be caught up at the end of the day. So imagine sitting in that courtroom.
Not knowing what was happening.
Exactly,
Wow.
exactly. So that trial, the November 2018 trial, ended with 6 people being convicted and 3 were let go. So 3 people were charged with lesser, I believe, assault charges. So they ended up getting simple assault and they were freed. 6 people got convicted of also lesser charges than murder. So what they got was intentional bodily harm. And they were sentenced to anywhere between 5 and 15 years.
Okay, and so we, of course, are talking about the postponement now twice of the retrial. So kind of make people understand what is up, what's going on with that situation.
Right. So when we talk about retrial, that can be a little strange to us here in the U.S. because here you cannot be tried for the same charges. So there's no double jeopardy, and that's because of the Fifth Amendment. In Greece, however, these suspects, 6, and then 1 that the court system believed got away with 2 lenient sentences, so 7 people total, will be charged again for the murder trial. That's possible because in this case, the prosecutor filed an appeal. So I was actually exchanging emails with an attorney who's in Boston. He's very familiar with the Greek court system. And he did tell me that this is rare. I mean, it doesn't happen with every trial. It's not that every prosecutor gets a verdict and then appeals it right away. It does not happen every single day.
Yeah.
So he said this is an exceptional circumstance, but because the prosecutor was able to file an appeal, that's why the suspects are going to be retried on those same murder charges.
Okay, and that is what we are waiting to see when that will get started at this point. Again, we had reported that the first postponement happened because Bakari Henderson's family attorney needed some more time to catch up on the case. I'm supposing that person was rather new to the investigation into the ensuing case?
Yeah, so that was that attorney was a Greek attorney that was hired by the family recently.
Okay.
So last week, Jill had told me she couldn't comment on why they hired this new attorney, but this new Greek attorney had come on board. So obviously, the attorney needed time to catch up on this very difficult case. I mean, it involves multiple defendants.
And goes back almost 3 years now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the second postponement was because The defendant's attorneys now are saying that they didn't basically have time to meet today because they're trying other cases at the moment. So a very difficult situation, obviously, for Bakari Henderson's family, but we've been tracking it all along since 2017 when this happened. He was just visiting that Greek island and was attacked and unfortunately died because of that. Yeah. Well, Eugen, of course, I know you'll be following along with it, as well as all of us here at KXAN. We want to thank you all for watching. If you would like to find out more about this story, it's on our website, kxan.com. We, of course, will let you all know when or if the retrial will begin, what that date might be. Bakari Henderson's mom told us that she does not know when that is, but she and her family are going to head back to the States, await that decision from the Greek court, and then go back to hear these proceedings as they move forward. Thank you all again for watching today. We appreciate it. Head over to our website, kxan.com, or the KXAN News app to find out the latest. Thanks again, and have a great one.